Hey guys.
Alright folks, we're here today to check out a video from a band that's very close to my heart. These are our good friends from Montreal, Cryptopsy. It's been a long time. These guys have been simmering on music for a long time. Well, I don't think they were simmering on music. I think they were simmering on something else. But finally they have some music coming out. They have a new album coming out on Nuclear Blast. And then this song, this new track, the first single from that upcoming album is In Abeyance We Trust. Is he still playing for, what is he playing now? Chelsea still?
He still plays at Chelsea, I think.
So I don't know if the folks in Chelsea trust him or not, but he's there.
He's there.
He's there. So, no, obviously the name is not In Abeyance We Trust, because nobody trusts in him, at least since he left Dortmund. Like, he hasn't done shit all since he left Dortmund.
Yeah.
So, anyways, in Abeyance, oh, fuck. Dudes, can you pick up, like, a name of a song that's easier to pronounce, seriously? Like, you fucking have to throw me this shit.
Yeah, but they're probably watching the video being like, motherfucker, like, that's an easy word.
English, motherfucker! English. English is my second language. So, French is my third. Ah oui, hein?
Oh, yeah.
Alright.
Tic-tac, tabernacle.
Les enfants?
Exactly.
Parce que je ne sais pas. Oh! Anyways. Imagine me being like a tour guide in Montreal. That'd be fucking hilarious. Anyways, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Alright, let's do it.
Promise a utopia.
Holy meaty motherfucker. God damn, son. This song's got vox and hops. See what I did there? Wow. And by the way, whose dick do I have to suck to get one of those vox and hops t-shirts? Hopefully nobody's.
Hopefully nobody's.
Yeah, hopefully nobody's, but, you know, like, fuck. I know so many douches that have got one of those shirts for free. I'm not going to name names because I'm not that kind of a guy. And fuck, I'm a douche too. Like, hook me up with one, bro. Anyways. Can I go first on this?
Yeah.
Fuck, let me just say off the cuff, that guitar sound,
Yeah.
That was like that shit was like the jizz. Like, you know, not the gist of it, the jizz of it.
The jizz of it.
Fuck, it was good. I love that shit. This is fucking meaty. This is one of those songs where it's every man for themselves.
Yeah.
Because it's just like absolute mayhem. I gotta say this to you. I was at Fit for an Autopsy and the Acacia Strain show. Well, for you guys, it wasn't yesterday. For you guys, was like that show happened already a couple of days ago. But as we're recording this, that was yesterday. I was at that show yesterday. And I met one of our viewers from Belgium. I know, what the fuck is he doing here? A lost waffle.
Exactly.
So anyways, he's
Saving
here.
Private Waffle. What the hell?
He's here for a work conference or whatever, and he found out that the show was happening, so he picked up a ticket and he went to the show. Which I'm like, yeah, dude, that's the right attitude. You go out of town on a trip.
Business.
First thing you do is you check up like who's playing. And you find out it's Fit for an Autopsy and the Acacia Strain, you buy a ticket and you go. And he was just at the Grass Pop in Belgium. So, anyhow, so we got to talk for a little bit, and he mentioned that in Belgium, it's the sound that's really in right now, it's more atmospheric stuff. Like avant-garde atmospheric stuff.
Okay.
That seems to be what's really in there. And I said, like, in Canada, is really death metal. Like, technical death metal and death metal. I feel like some of the best death metal around, period. Never mind like just Canadian, like period. Some of the best technical death metal bands are coming from Canada. I mean, we do have some bands in other genres that are good too. Like
But the genre itself is not as popular.
Yeah, because he was mentioning to me that in the States it seems to be a big hardcore, deathcore, metalcore scene happening, and I was like, yeah, in Canada. Death metal, man. Death metal is where it's at. Either technical death metal or death metal. And you see the popularity of bands in those genres when they're playing, and like in big markets like Toronto, Montreal, shows are always sold out. But anyways, these days every show is pretty much sold out all the time because people want to go to shows. But I just say like Canada has that. So I just want to. The reason I'm mentioning that is because then you have these guys who are Canadian, who are from Montreal, and here we go, proving the point that when it comes to Canadian metal bands. Death metal, technical death metal, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. But listening to this song, it really felt like every man for themselves. It's one of those tracks that it's like crazy, goes in a 1,000 different directions at the same time. And
it has some constant, it has some...
it has some
consistent
repetition, maybe.
Yeah.
Which then translates itself to consistency because it becomes consistent. But the vocals always felt like the spring. Like, it doesn't matter how far you went, the vocals kind of pulled you right back into that same starting point.
Yeah.
So the song kind of had that ability to keep bringing you back. The guitars, that sound, like, that was fucking cool. I love that shit. It's funny that because the way he was doing, he was going upwards on the fretboard, and there's a song from Fit for an Autopsy where he goes the other way around, which has a very similar effect. I like shit like that when you're hearing like a chunky riff and then you go like I just like that shit. I don't know what you call it. I don't know the technical term, but for me it's like the jizz factor. That's what I'm calling
the jizz factor.
That's what I'm calling it. It's what brings all the boys to the yard.
Damn
and
right.
some ladies as well. I saw some at the Acacia Strain show and Fit for an Autopsy that fuck. I swear to God, I think we've evolved from karate in the pit to capoeira in the pit because there was capoeira going on. Like, I swear to God, there was, like, there was one person doing the ring, you know, where the girl is, like, bent backwards and walking backwards.
Really, like, the crab walk.
Dude, there was a guy doing that in the pit. What the fuck? Like, seriously, like, we're getting into uncharted waters here. So, anyhow, but that just tells you that the Canadian crowd loves their death metal and their heavy shit, their deathcore and all of that stuff, technical stuff, whatever you want to call it. All the subgenres. They love all the subgenres.
Anything death.
Exactly. And my last thing I want to say about this video, because I want to get your quick take. I know this is probably not too much of your cup of tea, because you're not a big.
It's mostly yours.
You're not overly, even though you're wearing an Undeath T-shirt, you're not overly into death metal. You'll have your picks and your choices. The drums were also phenomenal.
Yeah.
Fuck, the drums were good. I love the sound of the drums. I love the density that the drums have. Not overly dense into a point that kind of overshadows everything else. I like my drums to sound like they have depth. You know what I'm saying? Like when you hit the drums, I don't want to hear just the sound at that point. I want to feel like the sound is freaking traveling, like there's depth to it. And I don't want that depth to be dense. meaning that it kind of covers everything in its path. I want the sound to move, but I can still hear the other elements around. That's like almost like they have a little bit more life in them. And that's how I felt. For a song that's this brutal, this heavy, to still feel like the drums are have depth but not necessarily density, it's really important to me. It allows me to absorb the sound better. It allows me to enjoy it better. All right. Now, from a guy who's not a huge death metal fan, what do you think about this?
I mean,
latest from Cryptopsy?
Yeah, even though I'm not a big fan of the genre, I still enjoyed this song as much as I could. Right? There was nothing really that I didn't like. It was just, it's not my thing, but it's on and I'm enjoying listening to it. Right? Like, I did enjoy this song, especially those little quirks like the guitar thing and all that stuff. Even the drums. I really just enjoyed the experience, but I think what helped that is the song is not that long. And I think...
But you can't have a song like
this
of course. Be 5 minutes long.
Of course.
Like, I'm tapping out after 3.5.
I think that's most of the death metal that I even listen to is pretty short. But I think it's because I can only take the genre in small doses.
But that's how it needs to be.
Yeah.
That's how it needs to be. I mean, to me, if you're going to create a song that's super brutal and heavy, consistently, I'm not talking about a song that's brutal and heavy, but then it has some ebbs and flows, maybe some acoustic guitar interlude in the middle or bridge or whatever. No, if you give me a song that's brutally heavy from beginning to end with no pauses, no breaks, nothing, it has to be around the 3.5 minute mark. It cannot be longer than that. Otherwise, you start to lose me. Because after a while, it just feels like it's repetitive. It just feels like we're going around in loops. Everything sounds the same. And then when you put that in the context of an album, you really feel at the end of the record. And I talked to Julian from Benighted, for example. I've had this conversation with him where we were talking about it was last year or the year before. We were talking about what were our favorite death metal albums of that year. And, without naming any names, we mentioned a couple of records where we're like, oh, that was a good record. By the way, what's your favorite song? It's like, I don't know. They kind of all felt the same to me. It was good. Don't get me wrong. It was good. But, I don't know. The second one? We had that conversation. And I thought it was just me.
No.
But here's a guy who's a vocalist in a death metal band, brutal death metal band, saying the same thing I was saying. He felt the same way. So, it was cool to just have somebody who's in the business, who sings in a band like that, agree that there's other bands that do that, and that kind of turns you off sometimes to the genre. So you have to be aware of that when you're making an album, and because it's not just about playing and creating music for your fans, it's also opening the door to new fans to come in and enjoy the music. And if you start to over compress the sound and expanding the length of the song, fuck, you're not Opeth. We don't need a 12-minute song here. We just need quick pounding. Fuck, that didn't sound good.
That didn't sound right.
Anyways, we need that, like a quickie. That also didn't sound good. And then move on to the next one.
Stop.
Fuck, that's a train. You're running a train at that point.
Yeah.
You're running a train. All right, on that note, guys, I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
All right, so go check out their social media. They have a new album coming out on Nuclear Blast. It's been a long ass time between records for these guys. I honestly, at one point in time, I thought they were just quitting music altogether and just dedicating themselves to podcasts. I mean, that seems to be the thing these days.
Yeah.
That and OnlyFans.
Yeah, I feel like they go hand in hand, though.
Yeah, so I think the fact that they went with podcast kind of saved the band.
It's one step away from OnlyFans. I feel like you podcast and then there's one step and then OnlyFans.
There's people who have both.
Yeah, true.
Adam 22. You know who?
Yeah.
Yeah, and his wife, they have the podcast and OnlyFans.
See what happened with his
wife? Fuck yeah!
Yeah, dude.
What the fuck, man?
What the fuck?
Seriously, we need to do a video about that. Our very own take on that. So fuck, she said she couldn't walk for 4 days or something like that.
Oh.
Fuck, I don't know if she's just overselling it or not, but anyways.
rubbing it in her.
No, now they're
face.
saying that the next one is going to be with Brian Pumper.
Oh my god.
Fuck. Jesus Christ, they're definitely not racist.
True.
Just keeping it real. If you guys don't know who those people are, go check them out, I guess.
Have fun.
Have fun, yeah. If you don't want to invest too much, they have the previews of their shit on Pornhub. So you can get the Cole's notes, if you will. There's not a lot of
best moments.
The interviews are the interviews in the podcast. Let's say the
content.
Subpar. Yeah, the content is. You don't really go there for the what do you call it, for the
interview.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're not going there for the well thought out process of the questions or the answers. That's not where you're really there for.
Game.
Exactly. You're there for the visuals. All right, guys. On that note, we'll see you all at the next one.
See ya.